Welcome to Bat Tracking, part of the Theia 3D tutorial series. In this video, we will provide an overview of Theia's bat tracking feature, including how to collect data for bat tracking, how to enable the bat tracking feature, and how to process bat tracking data. Bat tracking is a Theia add-on feature that allows simultaneous 3D biomechanics and bat trajectory measurements to be obtained from synchronized video data. No sensors, markers, or instrumented bats are required, enabling real-world data capture of natural batting motions to be captured at scale. A valid Theia 3D license and installation of Theia 3D Axiom, version 2025.2.0 or later is required. Prior to collecting or processing any bat tracking data, it is important to ensure that the camera system and environment are set up properly to obtain high-quality input data for accurate athlete and bat tracking. The following factors are especially important to consider. Camera setup. Review your camera setup carefully and check that both left and right-handed swinging athletes, as well as athletes of different sizes, will be able to perform swings in your capture volume without any part of the athlete or bat leaving the camera views. Visibility of the hands and base of the bat are especially important, so check that these areas are visible by having someone stand in the capture volume in a pre-swing ready position. Video settings. Check your camera settings and review the lighting in your environment. Batting is a very high-speed motion, requiring the use of high video frame rates to capture the movement smoothly, and short exposures or shutter speeds to capture clear images without motion blur. Adjust your camera settings to capture smooth and crisp images. If the images seem dark, you may need to introduce additional lighting into your environment. Athlete attire and equipment. Wherever possible, avoid attire and equipment that provides limited contrast against each other in the background. Consider the attire worn by the athlete, batting gloves, bat color, and the background colors of the environment. Attire that provides limited contrast or visibility, such as all-black attire and bat against an all-black background, can introduce challenges for accurate athlete and bat tracking. Netting. For markerless motion capture applications such as batting that require protective netting, it is important to consider the impacts of the netting on the input video data quality. When setting up or adapting a capture volume for bat tracking, consider opting for knotless, small gauge, twine netting that reduces the video impact and occlusion of the athlete and bat. If thick, knotted netting exists, consider patching in more minimal netting directly in front of camera views. Using the bat tracking feature is very simple, and it can be used within Theia 3D or Theia 3D Batch. To begin, run Theia 3D or Theia 3D Batch. In the Startup window, enable the Engine Settings panel and navigate to the Joint Detector Size tab. Within this tab, enable the TrackBat Beta option. Then click OK to continue launching the application. Enabling the bat tracking feature in the Startup window ensures that all trials processed with this instance of Theia 3D or Theia 3D Batch will be processed using both the person and bat object tracking algorithms. Once Theia 3D or Theia 3D Batch has launched, use either application as you normally would to process one or multiple trials. For more details on processing data in these applications, please watch the Analyzing Data or Setting Up a Batch videos. All trials will be processed using both the person and bat object tracking algorithms. If no bat is detected, any visible people will be tracked without bat tracking. When processing bat tracking data, it is possible to adjust the filter cutoff frequencies applied to the bat keypoints and the bat pose in the Analysis Preferences panel. The bat object smoothing frequency slider adjusts the cutoff frequency for low-pass smoothing of the whole bat pose, while the base and tip cutoff frequencies in the Advanced Object Definition Settings window adjusts the cutoff frequency for the smoothing of those object keypoint trajectories. Once the movement trial has been fully processed, it is possible to view the tracked bat object and the trace of its tip in Theia 3D by enabling Show Objects and Show Object Traces in the display menu. Object trace visibility can be adjusted between none, sparse, and full traces from the Rendering Preferences pane. Person and bat tracking data can be saved using any of the output data formats that are available for person tracking data, including Theia workspaces, pose files such as C3D, JSON, or FBX files, and video overlays. The pose output files such as C3D, JSON, and FBX files will contain pose data for the bat object, similar to how person body segment data is conveyed. For Visual 3D users, the automatically applied model for C3D files from Theia will include an automatic bat segment for any files containing a bat. For proper modeling, Visual 3D version 2025.11.2 or later is required. Thank you for watching this video on Theia's bat tracking feature. If you have any questions that have not been answered, please feel free to reach out to support@theiamarkerless.com.